Hi everyone, I'm Leslie, and I'm traveling the world looking for everything that's unique, different, and the more off the beaten path, the better. And we are currently trying to see every single bit of Italy that we can. We've left Tuscany, kind of, the main center of Tuscany, and we're gonna move our way up to what we'll call northern Tuscany. We're gonna stop in an area that I thought was going to be super cheesy. We have a stop in a place I have dreamt about for years, and a stop that turned out to be one of the biggest surprises and one of our favorite parts of Italy. And without any further delay, I am so excited to show this area of Italy to you, so let's go check it out. So as I said, we have been touring Italy. We're currently leaving the center of Italy in Tuscany, like wine country. We just spent 7 glorious, peaceful, wine-filled days in an Airbnb in the center of Tuscany that was exceptional. And we're heading up with a car to work our way towards Milan. But before we get to Milan, we're going to stop in a little city called Lucca. Now, I'm wondering if anyone has ever even heard of Lucca. If you have, tell me in the comments, because I had never heard of Lucca. And I only chose Lucca because we also really wanted to see Pisa. Now, both of us thought Pisa's just going to be totally cheesy. We loved it. I'll tell you about that. But I didn't want to stay in Pisa. I just thought it was going to be a complete storm. And so I figured we could drive there. Next closest city on the map, I literally looked at the map and said, next closest city is Lucca. Found a hotel in Lucca. We drove to Lucca, and holy Lucca, we absolutely loved it. So we're going to start in Lucca. We have a little stop in the middle at a place that I have dreamt about for years, and then we're going to head to Pisa. So let me first tell you about Lucca. Lucca is a well-preserved city within 4.2 meter city wall. Here's a picture of it, like an aerial view of it. Lucca's a little medieval but livable. It felt like just a warm hug. It's all the medieval towns that we've already seen when we were in like the center of wine country, but I don't know, it just felt so different. It's probably larger than any of the cities that we had seen. And so there's that, a lot more restaurants and shops. The main Centrico Storico, the center part within the city walls, was much bigger. So I don't know if it was that, if it was contained within the walls, felt like a hug. I don't know. We loved it so much. So when I booked the hotel in Lucca, I got the Best Western Grand Hotel Guinigi. The Best Western Grand Hotel Guinigi. It's a little outside the city center, but maybe like a 10-minute drive, which was good because it had a beautiful view. It was quiet. Our room was great. We had breakfast included. Parking was included. The room rate was awesome. Great hotel in a great location without being like right there. If you didn't have a car in Lucca, I could see how you would want to be right in the city center. But since we drove from Tuscany up to Lucca, we had our car still. So this was perfect. We could drive in to check everything within the city walls and then just go back to our hotel. which, speaking of driving, in the city, you want to be sure to watch for the parking signs, where you can park, how you park. The streets had little kiosks where you could pay for basically a parking meter, and there are blue laned parking spaces along the main street, and those are the open spots where you can park. We were able to figure it out, so it's definitely doable.
This is huge. It's no hills, you know. It's none of that hill stuff. Something.
The first night we ate at Madame Butterfly's restaurant, I had great penne arrabbiata there. That the Italian food in Italy became a very big challenge when we were in Tuscany, mostly because we were having a difficult time finding restaurants open. We couldn't find quick places to just kind of run in and out of. And so being able to just go into the city center, get the food we wanted, and enjoy the little town while we were in there was just a welcomed good food that we really needed. Within the city walls is the San Michele in Faro. This is the Roman Catholic Basilica Church. It was built over the ancient Roman Forum here in Lucca. Until 1370, it was the seat of the major council, the commune's most important assembly. It's dedicated to Archangel Michael, and you'll see it from the outside here. As you can imagine, we've seen a lot of beautiful churches all over the world. I'm just a sucker for a beautiful church, and there's never too many beautiful churches, and this was up there, just gorgeous. The Cathedral of Lucca also is a Roman Catholic cathedral dedicated to Saint Martin of Tours in Lucca. It's the seat of the Archbishop of Lucca. Its construction was begun in 1063. The cobblestone streets within Lucca, they're relatively narrow, but a pretty, probably 2 or 3 story high buildings within it. And I don't know how to describe it. The warm hug keeps coming to mind. It just was so special, so special. I cannot recommend Lucca enough. If you're up in northern Italy and you have a chance to even just go see Lucca, but definitely if you have a chance to stay there, we loved it. Part of the reason why we're in Lucca is while we're here, initially our plan as we moved up to Milan was to see Bruce Springsteen in concert in Milan. But if you watched my last video in Tuscany, Bruce Springsteen's concert in Milan was canceled. So when it was canceled, we started evaluating what our plan was and what else we could do. And we found that Eric Clapton was playing in the summer festival, Lucca's summer festival, while we were in Lucca. So yeah, We got tickets to see Eric Clapton outside, just outside the city wall, under the stars. We've seen a lot of concerts all over the world. Roy's a huge music fan, and Eric Clapton was one we were not going to miss. We wouldn't miss him anywhere in the world if we could get to it. And yeah, so we got tickets for Eric Clapton. Couldn't see Bruce Springsteen, but we got Eric Clapton instead. So stay tuned for that, because I want to show you pictures of Eric Clapton's concert. So cool. Second day we're in Lucca. I want to go see along the coast an area that I have wanted to see forever. Now, what I had envisioned and what we actually saw ended up being two different things, but the place that I really wanted to see was Cinque Terre. Cinque Terre is along the coast at the very top of Italy. So these pictures here are what are going to look very familiar to you. One of the towns, there are 5 little towns here. One of the 5 towns is this picture. This is Vernazza.
Pronunciation guide on some of the most mispronounced words in the world. It's Cinque Terre's only natural harbor, offering breathtaking views out over the water and providing the best open-air amusement in Vernazza.
It's picturesque. It's what I had in my mind. It's where I wanted to go.
Cinque Terre.
So Cinque Terre and its 5 little villages takes a little bit of planning to kind of see what you want to see. So let me just tell you a little bit about our day. And when I say day, that's probably the most critical part, is you kind of want to plan a day around going to Cinque Terre. We drove, easy drive, but we had also been driving a lot, getting through Tuscany, getting from Tuscany up to Lucca. We'd been driving a lot. And so kind of navigating all of Cinque Terre and driving and getting on the train just wasn't really in the cards for us that day. And so what we did and what I'll recommend doing are 2 different things.
Pronouncenames.com.
La Spezia.
So what we did is we drove to La Spezia. Typically what you would do and what I would recommend is you would drive or take the train to La Spezia, and then from there you would choose your village in Cinque Terre that you want to go see. One of which is the one that I mentioned, the Vernazza. It's what they call the Beauty Queen. It's about 18 minutes on the train from La Spezia. Or there's Rio Maggiore, which is 7 minutes on the train. Rio Maggiore is one main street. It's got a harbor, a little rocky beach, and a few restaurants. There's Manarola. It's about 10 minutes on the train. There's Corniglia, which is a little baby village. It's a good getaway, beautiful place to be quiet and kind of escape, but there's 365 stairs to get up to it. So keep that in mind if that's the one that you choose. And then there's Monte Rosa, which is the flattest and the biggest of all the towns. It has beaches, it's got a longer promenade, but it's also the busiest because it's the largest and the flattest. So the one thing to keep in mind about Cinque Terre is obviously these are cliff edge villages. So there is a lot of climbing. No cars are allowed. So again, you're gonna drive to La Spezia, park your car, and then you're gonna take the train to whichever village you choose. And so choosing wisely, choosing which one you wanna see and how you wanna do your day is gonna be really important before you go. I did quite a bit of research before we left. I had in my mind that what we were gonna do is we were going to get to La Spezia, we were going to park the car, kind of wander that area, and then get on the train. And we kind of just ran out of steam. La Spezia is beautiful in and of itself, and I'll show you pictures of that. If you're a hiker, you can actually hike from village to village and spend the day just hiking. And that is definitely doable in a day. We also we're huge hikers, but we were not up for that either. So, but that would definitely be a beautiful way to spend your time. And pick a spot to sit down in, leave your stuff, and then go out for your hike so that you're coming back to your, sleeping spot and not dragging all your stuff with you. You definitely don't want to do that. So back to us in La Spezia. What we did is we parked at this train station, which is a huge tip for Cinque Terre. Regardless of what you're going to do, you can park at the train station, because parking, as you can imagine, since no cars are allowed in this area, is a challenge. So parking at the train station and going earlier in the day, which you're going to want to do to make sure you get as much in as you can anyhow, is recommended. And when you get to the train station, there's 2 entrances for the train station, and at the entrance it tells you the number of spots that are still available. And if you spend all day there, it's about 30 euros, which is a steal, because you could pay a boatload more than that. You can download the Trenitalia app to purchase the train tickets in advance.
pronouncenames.com.
La Spezia.
So we spent our day in La Spezia. Welcome to Cinque Terre.
Cinque Terre.
It's a beautiful village, still beautiful harbor, a relatively large city, so there was tons of restaurants, tons of shops.
How many times we were just trunking them in the water?
And we visited the San Giorgio Castle, which we had to go up onto the cliff edge to get to the castle. So that was cool because we were able to see the harbor and the view, and then back in where all the homes are kind of nestled in the cliff. San Giorgio's castle is the most significant in La Spezia's past. Built and extended several times in a period between the 14th and 17th century, the castle is composed of 2 connected but independent parts. Placed to protect the city from the ground, it was a focal point of the defensive walls of the ancient city and offers a breathtaking view of La Spezia and the Gulf from its terraces.
Exactly right, vernacular. So pulley system. So the pulley's pulling this?
Yeah, it's the same way.
The same way, same thing.
We had a beautiful day here. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but we still loved the area. And if we haven't learned anything traveling the world, just being fluid and open to things changing and just what the day brings you is the number one bit of advice I could give, because you just never know, and being tied to something and then missing out on what you actually are seeing is just never a good thing. So we drove back to Lucca, and tomorrow is going to bring us Pisa.
Thank goodness it's not Clapton night. It's just Thursday night in Lucca. Okay, let's get in the car. Doors open.
So as I said, not only did we think Pisa just can be super cheesy, but because it's Pisa, and the Leaning Tower, we just thought the city was going to just be a mess of tourists. And so that's why we booked our stay in Lucca. So the drive from Lucca to Pisa is only about 30 minutes. One tip that I have for Pisa is parking at the Parcheggio Cameo. I'll tag them here. It was only 14 euros to park here. It was super easy, super convenient, and across the street from the Leaning Tower. I don't know if there's anything else to do in Pisa, because we didn't do anything else. We didn't need to do anything else. Seeing the Leaning Tower, seeing the cathedral, and eating in the little village right there by the Leaning Tower was so great. We didn't do anything else. So parking right there and just being able to walk right across the street, 14 euro, that is a golden ticket right there. So if you're going to Pisa, make note of this parking area. Be sure to get your tickets early. If you don't want to go inside the Leaning Tower of Pisa, you can get like the grounds and the cathedral and seeing the Leaning Tower and that whole area, all the shops and restaurants, it's all free. Seeing the Leaning Tower from the inside and the view is worth every single penny. We purchased our tickets for the Leaning Tower through Viator because the tickets directly through Leaning Tower were already sold out. And so I'll put the link for the Viator tour in the caption. Literally was just access to the tower and the cathedral, but worth the money. There's a very narrow spiral staircase and extra steps at the top to go inside the Leaning Tower. But like I said, it was beautiful, super interesting on the inside to just see it from the inside. And then to see the view was well worth it. Oh my gosh, we are inside the Leaning Tower of Pisa. When I tell you
It's leaning. It's leaning. I feel a little drunk.
It's leaning.
A little tipsy right now.
See it in the video, but wow. Like, let me see if I can show you on the floor. Well, you can't really see it on the floor either, but wow, it's like a significant lean. Like, this is going to be a little journey to climb up this. Wow. Oh my gosh, we're like leaning to the left now, but as you circle around, then you lean to the right. And there's more steps all the way up to the top. That totally surprised me. I wondered, like, when you see the pictures, you know, just like how really, you know, leaning is it, or just, I don't know. I just thought the whole thing was going to be super cheesy. We loved it. It's just a beautiful area. The cathedral's gorgeous. The tower's huge, leans way more than we thought. We, of course, had to get the goofy pictures. I've got a whole bunch of goofy pictures. There were so many people taking goofy pictures out there. It was just so fun.
Good.
All right, amazing.
All right.
Thank you.
What's going on? Looks smaller than Lucca too.
The little town, there's a ton of restaurants and shops to purchase a whole bunch of mostly souvenir stuff. But we ate at Trattoria La Buca. Again, I would have thought like the food right there at the tower, like you just get pasta and like goofy pasta sauce. Oh, our lunch was so good. So take a note of Trattoria La Buca. So good. So we had a beautiful day in Pisa. And a beautiful night. We kept going into the city at night to have dinners, and yeah, just another little warm hug from Lucca.
This makes the city even that much more livable, doesn't it? Have all this greenery right at your doorstep. Back up like crazy. I'm gonna have to get it anymore.
And on our final day in Lucca, we have Eric Clapton's concert. And everything that you can imagine Eric Clapton's concert outside the city walls in Lucca, Italy, it was 100% that times 1 million. Just so, so, so cool. We're leaving Eric Clapton's concert in Lucca, the Lucca Summer Festival. What'd you think?
Lucca is about as old. Sorry. Clapton is about as old as Lucca.
Well, both. It works.
It was a great show. Too short. He only played for about an hour and a half. But great. He was great. And I enjoyed Lucca. I think Lucca's my favorite place in Italy.
Too. Oh my gosh, we absolutely loved Lucca. What a surprise, huh? We were here.
Never heard of Lucca, so
I know
it's,
we were here to avoid staying in Pisa and avoiding the crowds. And we ended up finding this beautiful walled little city that we love.
Who ever heard of Lucca? We're walking on the wall right now, actually. Camera can't show, but we're on the wall.
That's the little town inside the walls. This is on top of the wall and outside the wall. And the concert was outside on the base of the wall. Beautiful, beautiful night. Thank you, Royal, for your awesome raincoats you gave us, because they saved the night earlier and kept us warm during the concert. And Lucca, we loved you. A beautiful way to just put a big bow on Lucca, Pisa, and La Spezia. in this area of northern Italy. So yeah, that's it. That's just a little side jaunt on our way to Milan. We drive back to drop the rental car off, and we take the train into Milan. We don't need the car in Milan. We don't want a car in Milan. So interesting stop in Milan. Remember, we were going to see Bruce Springsteen. That's the whole reason why we're going to Milan. And now that Bruce Springsteen is canceled, you need to tune in to our stop in Milan. We do something in Milan that around the world, when I think of everything that we've seen all over the world, the thing that we do in Milan is probably, for me, in the top 5 most exceptional things we've done all over the world. So the Milan video is not to be missed. As always, if you have any comments about Lucca, Pisa, Cinque Terre, La Spezia, or any of the little villages in Cinque Terre, I would love to hear your comments. Be sure to put them in the comments below. If you liked the video today, please give me a thumbs up. I so appreciate you being here with me, taking this journey with me. And don't forget to subscribe so you're notified of the next video coming out from Milan and the surprise epic thing we do in Milan. And as always, thank you so much. And until Milan, bye for now.